Welcome everyone, Dr. Tom Paoli again, and I'm presenting my presentation on MRO Parts, and this is part 2 of 2 videos that I put together on MRO. You can obtain copies of this available. The information's in a later slide. Please subscribe to my channel. Here's the mission statement. Pay forward, hard knocks lessons learned. Here are some of my books on Amazon. Give them a try. I think you'll enjoy them. All right, MRO, Maintenance, Repair Parts, Operating Supplies, part 2 of 2 parts. All right, we're going to continue here and look at the process steps. Pretty extensive here. A lot of industry research, understanding total cost of ownership. All right, filling out questionnaires, making sure you understand not only your customers, but the possible suppliers. Here's an electrical supplies example. And this is from a case that actually happened. It was in the Gulf Coast area. And we had distributors willing to coordinate with us nationally. So some distributors didn't focus on industrial customers like us. Here are the profits of distributors, which we found out before taxes. Here are some of the players we looked at. You can see their names there on the left. Here we put together all the players in our buckets. Again, remember we divided MRO into buckets, and these are some of the suppliers who were existing at that time that we considered. All right, we did a pretty good spend analysis and we found out, okay, millions of dollars we spent, a total of 36.4. And it's pretty obvious. We did a pie chart. You can see which ones and how much we spent. All right, here's some of the results of what we did. We had tremendous inventory management improvements. Again, we went down and drilled down to the part and saw what the cost difference between parts were. A lot of work here. All right, here is what we talked about generally. We wanted to go to electronic catalogs and search engines rather than the very paper-intensive purchase orders. Things you got to remember when you do this about the supplier. Is it a strategic fit? Is it a win-win for you and the supplier? Is cooperation possible? It's a long journey, and you got to make sure when you reach some hiccups that you resolve them. Lessons that we learned. Make sure you record the lessons and review them, and look for resistance points, and find out why there is widespread MRO inertia in your organization. We discussed this before, different strategies for different parts, different controls, different outcomes. Parts are idiosyncratic to business, okay? Do we, and this is facetious, Girl Scout cookie inventory behaviors, you build up an inventory just before you have to sell, and then it drops to nothing. Again, planned MRO parts, the C parts, you know you're going to have a lot of turns, high usage parts. Make sure you do things to reduce cost and make them readily available to people in your organization. Here's some of the things that we did and talked about. Critical parts. You have to make sure you have them, okay? And you have to make sure that you understand that they will shut your organization down, and take all the steps possible, many of them listed above here, to make sure you can get them when you need them and don't have to wait. Well, sometimes you have unplanned parts, they're out of the ordinary, outliers, okay? So you've got to have a strategy to take care of them also. Some more unplanned. Here's some of the things that you have to utilize to take care of them. Sometimes an exceptional condition will arise and you're going to have a plan for that. And what you do is you don't change your whole strategy just because an exceptional condition happened. You deal with it and you make plans for the future. Make sure you organize your commodity baskets well, all right, and what you're going to do. Make sure your supplier have matching skill sets for your commodity baskets. Then you can put them on cruise control and won't have to worry about them much at all. All right, how do I select a supplier? Experience does count. Make sure it's real. Do they have experiences in being a supplier? In alliances. Visit the branches. Get upfront commitment of time and people who will be dedicated to you. Get references and check them out. This is a hard job here. Blow up the silos. Everyone has their own agenda. Purchasing, storeroom, materials, etc. You got to make sure you listen to them and satisfy their fears and concerns. Get real, get certain. You got to have executive backing or this is a non-starter. Get rid of activities that don't make money. Train people in the process, all right? Sell the process, market it. Here's how you can communicate. Some of the tools. I'm not going to go over them all. I think you're all familiar with them. Social media is a big one now. Again, you can't over-communicate what you're doing. Here's some of the things to consider in your selection criteria. Can't go over all of them, but if you do request this video, you will get a copy of these. All right? So again, think about these as you select the supplier or distributor. Two types of services you've got to think about, okay? People delivered, and these are the type of services that you have to think about of how you get the part and how you record you received it and your inventory. All right, I talked a little about what distributors are going to do in the future. You want them to be partners with you in the business, help you with total cost of supply, and you want them to help set up a system so that it is a seamless, non-mistake communication system. Now, industrial buyers have pressure to reduce overhead costs. You may have to deselect more suppliers than you want to, get connected to distributor systems, and also outsource some non-core activities if you have to. Just some things to think about. Here's some new age buyer skills that they need. Give you some time to think about it, but the new age buyer skills are building relationships with distributors and the customers. All right? Make sure they have soft and technical skills and be able to understand why they're important in this new age. All right, here are some differences. All right, and I'll talk about the future trends. National and global coverage, strong local suppliers to help you, internet buying and sophistication in analytics. Some new MRO practices. Vending machines is one that I've seen. Kitting up things for you. Electronic catalogs. On-site computer from the distributor. And a lot of standardization. So a lot of them you got to consider. Here's some more practices. You can base their compensation on how well they save total cost of ownership. Can they do repair work for you on site? Can they help you with your stockroom systems? Maintenance system? Can manufacturing reps come to your plant and participate in production meetings? All right, here's some pitfalls to avoid. Don't disband the team that selected a supplier. Turn it into an implementation team. Let the champion still lead the implementation group. Go for quick wins. Visit supplier often, have often reviews, and dump your non-value adding transaction work. Here's another tips to help you. Identify commodities or group. This is an overall picture of what you should have done when you select. Make sure your criteria is right, then narrow down the field. Get proposals, select a supplier, review, rollout, and startup. These are just to give you ideas about the steps you should do when you do MRO. Again, here is the improvement method you need to consider and how to do it. Right. Identify targets and opportunities. Make sure you evaluate solutions thoroughly. Make sure you have a good implementation plan. And set objectives and goals and stick to them. Here's what some companies do. Here's what we did. What must you achieve, what you intend to achieve, and like to achieve. And think about that as you go through the process. Make sure you have a very good supplier rating system. Here's some of the things you can rate with the supplier. You can see there's a lot of them. You have to pick them, and also what's appropriate for the particular basket or the type of part. Again, you'd be surprised about dollars buyback. It's important. Pricing strategies. Know what they are and then figure out the one that's right for you. Here's some clauses to consider in your contract. I won't go through them all, but you can see there's many things to look into, and they're readily available from old contracts or other contracts. Don't think you have to reinvent them. Terms and conditions. You may have to modify them for a particular basket or supply or part. And responsibilities in terms of non-conformance or when things go wrong. Here's some different types of integrators to consider and their definition. Don't rule any of them out. Examine them. Here's what Distributor Catalog resellers do. Pluses and minuses. I can give you some time to take a look at it. Again, you can request a copy of this at the end. Supplier alliances. Here's what we do. Again, pluses and minuses. A lot of good information here for you to consider. Pure integrators, they have a lot of pluses, as you can see. May not have the lowest unit costs and may need to establish some sort of physical presence near the customer. MRO rule number 1. You got to persevere. This is a very long, tough process, and you've got to just keep at it until the end. So don't be discouraged when you hit bumps in the road. Here's some rules. Stockpile for the long haul. You're going to lose some battles, but don't give up. Build consensus, put out fires fast, Never lose your cool to anyone or get angry. Got to do a lot of homework in MRO, and it's a field that changes a lot, so be prepared for it. Again, does it add value? If you're not making money on something you're doing, why are you doing it? All right, that concludes that. Here's an opportunity to get more information on how to do this whole process in my 9 business books available on Amazon. They'll be a great help to you. Here's some facts about me. I've done alliances. I've done a lot of sourcing for MRO and a lot of process improvement. Here's some contact information. Pretty much I'm available online in many areas and many social media sites. Here's the most important slide here, how you get a hold of the presentation. Here's my emails, thomasdpaoli@yahoo.com or drtomd@gmail.com. I've also got a website with a lot of things on it, drcombooks.com. All right, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed my advice. Thank you for your time. I know it's very valuable, and I hope you've learned a lot here. It was a lot, but if you break it down and think about it, I think you'll be very successful in MRO sourcing and making your MRO a better contributor to your profits. Thanks much.